All right. All right. Let me mute that. All right. So I spent a Saturday evening reading about the history of Rei Kawakubo and Comme des Garçons. It was a super deep dive and rabbit hole I went down. And the last time I went on a for real rabbit hole with somebody or another designer for that matter was Yves Saint Laurent and Karl Lagerfeld by proxy after I was reading Alicia Drake's is A Beautiful Fall or The Beautiful Fall. Fashion genius, excess, glorious 1970s Paris history. Very interesting read. And I bring that up because between reading that book and watching other fashion journalists and enthusiasts, most notably, at least for me, is Ryan Finn. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Fashion Roadman, Io. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I've heard it once, but I don't want to butcher it again. So there's that. But I've been listening to both of them for a few months now, just talking about fashion and like the industry in general. And I've wanted to put like a focus on like my own skills and just like critical thinking and like actual expression of personal opinion when it comes to just like fashion and art in general. So I bring that up because I tend to fall like I think I fall into this trap of like hearing an opinion and then like automatically or subconsciously like agreeing with it and like assuming that opinion as my own. And I think in some cases that's like it is what it is, just like in some cases, but like for me, I feel like it's gotten to a point where I like struggle to critically think on certain subjects, and I miss out on like having unique experiences on my own. And those experiences can come from like not even experiences, but like actually yes, experiences, and also like creating a unique interpretation that stems like from my own experiences and my own personal values. So as I'm speaking now, I feel as though I sometimes like have to like defend myself or defend my opinions, but like when I hear Ryan or Io, sorry, I like admire how sure they sound in themselves and like just the depth of their knowledge and their passion when it comes to fashion, especially Ryan, because when she speaks, I have to like actively actively listen because she just like goes like super in depth with what she's talking about, and she honestly sounds like a scientist, and I think it's cool. So this is where I'm at mentally. So I think they both have like this character quality that I feel like I know I possess, but I just doesn't like come up or activate as often as I would like it to, just because I don't think I just apply myself as much as I would like to. So between that and then just like having just like I don't like nobody likes being wrong, but I feel like we're in a time where like if you're wrong, you'll just get fucking blasted for it. So I'm kind of doing this just to as like a fuck it type of situation. Like I'm just gonna fucking yap about shit that I like and shit that I interpret. So it is what it is. If I'm wrong, I don't know what to tell you, bruh. God, recording is hard. Okay, so as I've come to understand it, Miss Kawakubo explains herself through her clothing. You could say that about every fucking designer. But the more I digest her work, I feel as confused as I am intrigued, where I'm just watching her shows and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And I am trying to and like find notes on her shows, but from what I've been reading, she drops like little tidbits, and it's up to us to like decipher what she's saying, because obviously everybody, well, not everybody, but at least with her, she doesn't want to like explicitly tell you like this is what the show's about, da 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 da. So I get that. I feel that. I think it's honestly fun trying to, just decipher what, the designer is trying to like go after, and especially with Rei, because when I'm looking at her clothing and I cannot pinpoint anything. So I bring that up because when I digest like art, film, music, I think most people and me, try to like make sense of like what they're working on, their meaning. And when I say make sense, it's like trying to find the designers or the artist's intention. Now, stemming off of fashion for a quick second, when it comes to films, I try my best to digest the movie like in my own way, but oftentimes I'm going to YouTube and typing in like, such and such explained, like Sinners explained, Eraserhead things you missed. And I'm probably just being hard on myself because there are like super subtleties that I just go over my head. But on one hand, I just want to be able to like pick up on certain things. And I think it comes like with a matter of just like exposure and time with arts in general. So I say all that to say, because I want to bring up David Lynch, because I think he is a good example in the film world, kind of like Rei. And I've been on a little bit of a film kick recently, so I've been watching movies by the director. So I've been watching like Tarantino, I've been watching like Bruce Lee movies. Even though I don't even know if he's a director or just a fucking, all right, whatever. But I've been watching like Tarantino stuff, and I've been watching David Lynch stuff. And, I've seen his name come up across like social media, and I'm like finding out recently that he died. So rest in peace. And, I just figured, I watched some of his movies because I've seen them like be highly praised online. So I've watched 3 of his movies, and I want to talk about 2 of them really quickly. So I've seen Eraserhead and Blue Velvet. Eraserhead, my first watch through, I was kind of just like, what the fuck was that? And Blue Velvet, I made a little bit more sense out of, but at the same time, I was still like, what the hell was that? But the third movie that I watched was Inland Empire, and that film is like, it's like a nightmare. Most people describe it as a nightmare, but for me, it was like a nightmare, but you're lucid and you don't have any clue as to what's going on, but you're like down for the ride, if that makes sense. And as you're on said ride, you're literally like forced to try and make sense of what's happening, or you're subconsciously trying to make sense of what the hell is happening. One of humanity's primal fears, I believe, is just the sense of like the unknown, and this film just puts 2 hands on your back and shoves you into ambiguity, and I think it looks awesome. And just for a heads up, the synopsis of Inland Empire is, what is it right here? Okay, as a Hollywood actress begins to adopt the persona of her character in a film, her world becomes nightmarish and surreal, which is very true in all of the sense of that synopsis. And yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm a big fan of the movie also because of the way it like portrayed death. I'm personally a fan of just how death is like portrayed in media, because I think there's like super creative ways you can do it, and it plays into like spirituality, religion. I just think it's interesting, and I think the way Inland Empire did it, I liked a lot, and honestly, I might I could see a video coming out about that. I just have to rewatch it first. That being said, watching Eraserhead and Blue Velvet, I was able to pick up on like some themes, like something like, okay, the theme of fatherhood like completely went over my head in Eraserhead. And maybe I'm just being hard on myself because I kind of saw like that from like some Letterboxd reviews that I was looking at, and also the inevitable fucking explain videos that I was looking at. But you know, what it is. And Blue Velvet, I also kind of felt the same way. I was able to pick up something. I actually didn't watch an explained video for that. I thought I was pretty satisfied watching that, even though there were some interesting themes in that movie as well. But watching Inland Empire, that film, at first, like watch it prior to Inland Empire, I was not a Lynch fan yet because my main thing was trying to understand his work, and I was trying to get like a sense of his style, or watching his movies like forced me to understand like the style of a director. Like I'm watching Tarantino movies and I'm getting his like style, and then I'm seeing Lynch's style and I'm like, okay, people have styles, crazy concept. But yeah, watching Inland Empire, I think that Awoken or something like in me clicked film wise. So like I'm watching movies like a little bit differently now. And it allowed me to just like engage in like film and other art without purposely fishing for its purpose or intent, at least while watching it. And it wasn't until like the film wrapped up where I was just sitting there and I was like, nah, that was nuts. Yeah, so I recommend it. It's really good. It's a 3-hour watch though, so bit of a long time. But honestly, those 3 hours actually kind of, they don't blow by, but you'll be sitting there and then like you'll be like, oh my god, what time is it? And then it's like 2 hours have passed. So those two, if you like really immerse yourself in the movie, it'll like fly by. So with all that being said, David Lynch's style, like as far as I've seen, is, I'm not the first one to be saying this obviously, but I think it's very surreal. And after seeing Inland Empire, I think I understand what people mean by things being Lynchian. And like an example I can think of off the top of my head, in my opinion, is, what's that one movie? Lighthouse. I think the way it's like shot, dialogue, kind of, yeah, dialogue as well. And yeah, just way it's shot, dialogue, and just like the way characters interact in Lighthouse, and also everything I just said before, dialogue, cinematography, how characters interact within that world, within David Lynch's worlds. I think he has a very interesting style, and after seeing Inland Empire, I have a better appreciation for Blue Velvet and Eraserhead, because I saw Eraserhead and I was like, is this where the iPod meme fucking came from? So the AirPod meme came from. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so David Lynch woke something up on the film side of my brain, similar to how Ray woke up something in the fashion side of my brain. All right, getting back on track with this fashion stuff. Rei Kawakubo fashions Pandora. During my deep dive of CDG and Miss Kawakubo, I came across an excellent article from The New Yorker by Judith Thurman. It came out like almost a decade ago, I think, and it goes over her life story with as much depth as, Miss Kawakubo allowed. And she's a very, from what I've been reading, she's a very private person, and that privacy, I think, is much a part of her allure. And having read the article and viewed like some of her earliest runways, especially like her first runway, the Destroy collection in 1982, I could be wrong, I find it very interesting, just like the way she expresses herself through clothing, and then just like how like things in real life, or how like she absorbs like real life issues and puts that to needle and thread. It's actually kind of insane to me. The more I delve into like the world of CDG, the more I find myself like needing to study the way clothing is just like cut, how things are like traditionally sewn, how patterns are like utilized. Um and I feel like I need to have a grasp on just the fundamentals of clothing to get a clear picture of how Miss Kawakubo is breaking down those fundamentals, and also to get a clear picture of just how CDG and their subsidiary companies are turning these ideas on their head. Now, I imagine CDG, the brand itself, as a modified Pandora's box. It's a box that Miss Kawakubo and her designers just open and close as they please. And just as a quick summary, in the original story of Pandora's box, from what I've seen, the box contains all the evils in the world, but it also contains hope. And I think the team over at CDG and Miss Kawakubo specifically use the box to express her issues going on with the world, and obviously expressing it through the clothing and themes that I've seen just by looking, just like themes of like feminism, war, capitalism. Some shows I've seen, or like have seen, shown me themes of like self-actualization. For example, I don't remember exactly what year it was, but she had a little quote, and it was like, I need to go find it. Maybe in the edit I'll put in the edit, but it was something about like needing to go back to black. And I would put that under self-actualization, because something about, I'll probably figure this out the more further I delve deep, but something about her and black just seems like a necessary like union, kind of like a shadow on somebody where it's just like gonna happen. I think there's a special relationship with like black and her, so I'm excited to dive more deep into that thought in my own time, and I'm looking forward to learning more about her, CDG, Junia, what was it? CDG Noir, and I think Tao. I'm blanking on the last name, but yeah, it's an interesting brand, and I am liking it a lot. It's breaking down everything that I've known to make sense, because everything in fashion so far that I've looked at has made sense, but her brand doesn't sometimes, and I kind of like that.